Hello, Star Wars unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba, on my way to a marketplace pickup. Yes, I have not learned my lesson, and I am still making deals with Facebook Marketplace. What is the item? I'm not really going to show it to you. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll do a little video at the end and insert it here so you can see it. It's not much. It's just about 7 action figures, not even complete, but they do come with their card backs. There's some vintage card backs. So I have been learning that, you know, when I do my calculations for how much I should pay for something, I got to take into account everything. I take into account the figure, if it comes with an accessory, if it comes with 2 accessories. I just need to add everything up and then divide that number by the amount that they want, at the asking price, and decide if that's really what it's worth. And I feel that this is kind of a close call. There are 2 complete figures, which I might actually break up. I think if I break up those 2 figures, it might be in a better situation. Now I'm going to connect this video with potentially another video, though if I don't, you'll know that it fell through. I'll put a little update if that happens, but essentially there has been some other interesting finds on Marketplace, and there's one particular one that I'm very curious about. So this was a barn find, and that barn find was about 60 figures. The video was very faint, and it was very grainy, and it was kind of hard to make out, but there were apparently 60 figures. But there was also what looked like a complete AT-AT, a partially complete AT-ST. There was a in pieces but looked complete TIE Interceptor. There was the ball, center part of a blue battle damaged TIE Fighter, but I didn't see the wings. I messaged if they were there, and he said he did have them. He thinks. So let's assume that they're not there. Rancor, a Jabba figure, I didn't see the throne, a few other things, but the main thing was there was an A-Wing fighter, the droid's A-Wing, 1985 A-Wing fighter, along with a Imperial shuttle. And in the figures, there was, among, you know, some fairly clean figures. They didn't look overly yellowed, but there was, I believe, a couple of capes with things and stuff like that. But there were, in fact, a Barada, a Paplu, and an Imperial Dignitary. So a couple of semi-rare last 17s to boot. And now he wants $1,500. And he said, you know, he was very honest. You're selling as a lot. Please no lowballs. You know, I get that. I understand. You don't want a lowball offer. I understand that. But I was also looking at what the guy was selling. Other things on his marketplace. And he's dealing with tools and again, farm equipment and stuff. He's not really dealing with Star Wars. So I just think he wants to get rid of it. So I thought about it. I did some math in my head, but I made an offer of $1,200. Now the question now becomes, okay, now what do I do? You know, do I do this? Now here's the thing. At the time of this recording, it's Thursday. It's May 14th. George Lucas's birthday. Happy birthday to the maker. I have done about, I've gotten back into sales, back into doing a few sales, but only gotten to be able to do one a week for the last 2 weeks. A big one and a small one. So I do have 2 scheduled for this weekend. So I said, okay, I'm ready to do this. I can do this. And first I thought, well, could we do it Saturday? Because I wasn't going to do a sale on Saturday. But I forgot I'm also, you know, I have another thing I'm doing on Saturday, so I couldn't do that. So then I said this. I said, all right, can we do it next Saturday? But if someone comes to you with a matching offer or a better offer, then you take the offer, of course, and don't worry about it. I'd appreciate you letting me know before I make the trip. But yeah, that's all we need. And they agreed to that. That I'm thinking to myself, all right, I bet you I just kissed that goodbye, because that shuttle and that A-Wing fighter are enough to drive anybody who's in this local area to be able to just go pick it up. And it isn't even that far. It's closer than where I'm driving today for 7 figures. I may have just kissed it goodbye, but I have, but I am subscribing to the necessary adage that there will always be another deal. All right, so that's kind of my adventure right now. I was in some auction house auctions this week, and I did pretty darn well. I think I was pretty happy with it. I won I think a 50 modern figure lot for like $70. So that's gonna be, then you gotta add all the other stuff to it, but I think in the end it's gonna be it's gonna be okay. Okay, just stopped at the ATM to get the cash to make the deal. All right, and we're gonna get off the camera right now and get ourselves to where this place is in Pennsylvania. It seems like most of the marketplace sales that I do tend to take place in Pennsylvania, which is an interesting thing. I don't know why that is, but it's okay. It's cool. All right, so we're gonna go and do that, and then we will be. Oh, sorry for the slide there. And then, as I said, I will give you an update on how it went, and at some point you'll see the video of what it was. All right, let's do this. All right, guys, we are in the next day of our. We just had our day of our marketplace pickup. Just going to give you an update. I did the pickup. The guy was really nice. It was kind of cool. We were just talking Star Wars, talking the TV shows, and we're excited about Mandalorian and Grogu. Seemed like a nice guy. So that's another reason that's kind of cool about this, is that it's nice when you can have a connection. I don't know. I mean, I know that if I separate all the items that I purchased, they're not the most common. They're not the most like rare figures. They're pretty common. Common Return of the Jedi figures, a couple of ESB figures, but I know that if I put them out individually, I will make my money back. So I'm going to separate out everything. There was one, I got to test the, still have to test the accessories. They do appear on first glance to be originals. There was one that was a bit of a question mark because it was black and it looked like an IG-88 blaster, but I don't think it was. It was black, and I don't think it was a repro. I think it was. He mentioned that there might have been he had a thing of G.I. Joe figures and accessories, so it might have been mixed in with that. I mean, in which case, I'll see if I can do a search of what it is. So I'm not really concerned about that. In terms of that big $1,200 sale that I put off for next week, remember I said to the buyer, or to the seller rather, if someone else makes you an offer of equal or better value, by all means take it. Just let me know. It's totally good. I'm still going to be shocked if somebody doesn't buy it off. I can't imagine someone's going to buy it. In the meantime, we had another Facebook Marketplace. I inquired about a couple of items, asking if they were still available. I was told yes. It was a bunch of figures and a bunch of paper products. It was a board game and a bunch of sets of trading cards, vintage trading cards. I thought, you know what? Seeing how much these guys go for, I said, you know what? I made an offer of $150. Now, he said, oh, that I might be able to do that. Do you want it shipped? And I'm like, no, the guy's like less than an hour from my house. I said, no, I can come and pick it up. I'm only living about an hour from you. So I'm waiting to hear back. But if they're okay with that, then at some point over the weekend, I'm going to try to get out there to do it if I can. I got a few other things going on this weekend, so it might be challenging, but I might try to triangulate it and make it happen. Also, in the midst of this, I have been taking part, and I know that this has been a lot of information about this. I've talked about it with Star Wars Daddy. I've been watching some other podcasts about it, about auction houses. These are houses, not eBay, but places that do official. Sorry, hope everything's okay with that. Auction houses that run their own kinds of auctions. I have like an auction zip that makes me aware of all the different auction houses. And whenever there's Star Wars stuff, I look it up and I make a bid on it through Auction Zip. And sometimes I'm there and I can get, when the auction goes live, I can go in and I can actually bid live right there and there, and last week I did that and I won a bunch of stuff and I ended up paying a ton of money to do that, along with I ended up paying about $6 or $7 per figure of all the figures that I bought. I was paying almost $1,000, like just under $1,000. So I was a little bit kind of like, oh, this is a little rough. I might just break even. And that's kind of the thing with auction houses that I've been noticing, is that I got to be a little better with it, because I may break even or I may make money. May break even is not good enough. I need to know that I will at least break even, but more importantly, that will definitely make a little bit of money. So I have to think about this from a less money per figure bid. So with this auction that I was doing, I literally said, okay, there were 10 different lots that I bid on, and I said, I am going to bid on these items. This is my starting bid, this is my max bid, and I'm going to walk away. I am not going to go in there, even though I got a ton of texts and messages saying your bid's coming up. I didn't look, I didn't participate. So out of those 10, I won one of them. It was 50 Power of the Force figures, and the total cost with all their premiums and everything was $94, which is actually a pretty good price. But I was like, well, that's okay, but now I'm going to have to pay shipping, and it's for 50 figures. It's probably going to be somewhere along the line of $50 to $60, if not more. Until I realized, and I got and I got their email about, do you wish to pick it up? We're located in Lincoln Park, New Jersey. And I went, New Jersey? Wait a minute. I live in New Jersey, and that's less than an hour from my house. I'm going to go pick them up. So I'm all excited, because now I basically pay less than $2 a figure, which you will see, because when I put these figures out on a modern show, they will be running for $3 starts. So that's exciting for me. That's exciting for all of you that want to get some of those figures. So I'm excited for that. So now, where are we at? We're running right now to pick up 50 figures, 50 Power of the Force figures for a future Whatnot episode. I am waiting to hear back from this person from Allentown, PA, seeing if they'll take my offer of $150 for a bunch of vintage items. Waiting to hear in a week's time whether or not I'm going to be picking up a $1,200 collection that includes a Imperial Shuttle and a Wing Fighter. I do have, I think, one more item that I was online asking if it's still available. I haven't heard from them. After 2 days, I'm assuming that maybe they even just took it down. I really didn't check my phone. So we'll see how that goes. But at the time of this recording, I'm all set for a vintage Whatnot show tonight, a modern Whatnot show on Sunday, and then on Saturday, I'm going to be going to the Columbus Flea Market, which I've been watching some flea market YouTubers that have been going around this place. It's about 50 minutes from my house, and I have been amazed at what they have been finding, in flea markets, and it's crazy. There's just a ton of Star Wars stuff there. Now, of course, I might go and see nothing, but I'm going to check it out. All right, so that's kind of where we are. Let's get to this auction house and see what 50 Power of the Force figures look like. Okay, so here were the items. We got some green Power of the Force, some orange Power of the Force. I think we got a cool C-3PO in there. Got some mainly just regular figures. So, definitely worth the amount I paid, especially saving on the shipping. So, all right, mission accomplished. Hello, good morning, Star Wars unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba. Today I'm on the road, on my way to a flea market, one that I've never been to. It's in Columbus, New Jersey, not Columbus, Ohio, Columbus, New Jersey, the Columbus Flea Market. And it's about an hour drive from here, and I've been watching a lot of flea market vloggers. The most notable being Gen X Jason, who's apparently he makes weekly excursions to this flea market. And boy, I gotta tell you, this is an all-year-round one. It seems amazingly popular, especially in the areas of vintage items, like vintage toys, that kind of thing. And I've seen a lot of Star Wars stuff there, and I'm like, you know what? I gotta check that out. I want to see if there's anything there. Maybe it'll be a bust today. Who knows? And then, if there's time, I might try to swing over to the Golden Nugget flea market, which I've done on this channel before, and just kind of walk around and see what people have going on over there. But before I do that, I got the Whatnot shipments that need to go out, so I'm heading to the post office first. But I'm excited to check that out and see if we can find any great Star Wars items that maybe we could, either A, flip in a Whatnot show, or B, have for the collection. So let's check it out. Well, I've been told that this is a better venue to visit on Sundays than it is on Saturdays. And I'm beginning to believe that, because Saturday was kind of dismal. I guess you see this is the parking lot. There's a few cars here. It is early, but still, there wasn't much going on. And I've seen video from just last week that this was much more hopping of a place. So we might try again in the summer in a couple of weeks. Check it out on a Sunday. It was not completely useless. We did pick up one Black Series and two Episode 1 and one Vintage Collection Yak figure, all for $20. So I think that's a pretty good deal. I'll be able to flip on the show. Yeah, so it was a, you know, like a typical farmer / flea market, but it felt like off season. It didn't feel like it was something that was, you know, a big hot spot. We are kind of in the middle, like in this little area of New Jersey. It's still a lot of farmland, so it's a little hard to get to this place. I mean, it's not crazy to get to. It's just a little bit out of the way. So it was funny. I went there. I saw on one table there was a little Ziploc bag, and it had about 6 vintage figures in it. They were just loose figures, no accessories, nothing special. But I was like, oh, there's something. And there was a guy next to me, and I don't know whether I'm pretty sure that he saw me looking at them, and he just gently took his hand and picked up the bag and took it with him. I don't know whether he had found and bought them in another vendor and just kind of had them on the table while he was looking for something else. I don't know. That would have been dumb. But I just think that he saw them and had, oh, I'm taking them. So that's one of those reasons where a lot of times you gotta, for both flea markets and yard sales and everything, you have got to be on the early bird list. If you are not, the Star Wars stuff, particularly the vintage Star Wars stuff, is not going to be there for you to get. Or if it is there, it's going to be for an outrageously high price that's really not realistic for the seller to put, and therefore no one's been buying it, and therefore you can see it, but unless you're willing to pay more than it's worth, you're not going to pick it up. So anyway, that's where we are. And it is interesting how I have been told that I can't remember if Golden Nugget in Lambertville is in the same boat about being much more popular on Sundays than it is on Saturday. I think the Golden Nugget's open Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, I think. And I don't honestly know if this one is more popular on Sundays or not. I think I did the Sunday. I ran it myself. I ran a booth. I thought it was on a Sunday. I can't remember. But anyway, I'll check it out. I mean, it's, again, as I said, this is more of just a nice outing. It's a beautiful day. We are just a few minutes away from, I think I just went the wrong way. Oops. We are just a few minutes away from the Ross in this area, and I'm going to go check it out. We'll see if there's anything left in there. Got another battle, I guess. $99. I mean, it looks like it's something that might have been worth a lot more than that, but still.
Right here. This is the only stuff I was talking to.
How much are you asking for this?
I will take five.
But these?
2 apiece, I guess.
Okay.
Cool. If you want a watch, I got a watch. A couple of watches, I think.
do 10 for all of it?
I'll do 12.
Would you do
Well, I want like a little bit for that, so
15 for all of it?
I'd have to do 20. And then I got these things too.
We do 25 for all of these?
Okay.
For all of it? All right, cool.
Mostly photos in that box.
Okay. Just looking at this. It's cool. Okay, so about the same in terms of amount of people, amount of sellers that I was seeing at Columbus. I feel like Sunday is probably the better day to do it. I won't be able to do that until the summer. At the time of this recording, it's May 15th, so I'll have to wait about 6 weeks to try to get it. I mean, of course, I'll have my own sale to be focusing on, so it probably won't happen for about 6 or 7 weeks. I'll get out here in the first weekend in July and try a Sunday and see how we do. Okay, well, I was planning on taking you to another vintage store, which is right next to the Golden Nugget. It's called Love Saves the Day. It's in New Hope. New Hope is a beautiful town. It's actually two towns. It's New Hope on the Pennsylvania side, Lambertville on the New Jersey side, and a bridge that connects them. And it's a beautiful, like, walk-around town. Lots of great eateries, lots of great knick-knack shops. Just a lot of fun. But it's very crowded. It's and this time of year when it gets warm, it just gets insanely crowded. And today was the Pride Parade, which I didn't realize until I pulled in. And I went, oh, there is no place to park, like within a 3-mile radius of the town. So I was like, all right, today's not the day. So another day, I will get you into Love Saves the Day so you can check it out. But overall, I thought it was pretty good today. I thought we were pretty well, you know, it was worth the trip. There was no vintage to be found. There was only modern for the 90s or later. But it was fine. I did find, like I said, that one little bootleg, I guess you could say, or knockoff set of like Army Men, but Star Wars style, and definitely meant to mimic, you know, the Star Wars craze back in the 70s and 80s. So I don't know if I'm going to sell that one or keep it in the collection for a little bit. We'll see. All right, so thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm just trying to take you on the journey of me trying to find ways to find Star Wars items that I can put out on Whatnot and I can make a profit. It doesn't have to be a huge profit, just a profit. And I think I'll be successful with the items today that I got. And again, it's just one of those things. You know, there's of course there's eBay, there's auction houses, and there's thrifting and finding stuff in yard sales and flea markets. That's always the hardest though, because you don't realize how much money you're spending. You think, well, I'm just going around and looking at it. I'm not out anything if I don't buy anything. Yeah, you are. You're out your gas money, and gas these days is not cheap. So you got to take that into account as well. So you probably get a better shot at flea markets than you do yard sales in this day and age. But you never know. It's always good to just see what's out and about. And some of these stuff might go into my yard sale because I am prepping for that. So those who don't know, I do a yard sale at the very end of the school year, at the end of June, last weekend in June. It'll be a Thursday through Sunday, 26, 7, 8, 9, I believe is the dates. And I would put up Star Wars themed signs everywhere. One of these years, I might even see if I can grab a few people in the 501st to come out and hang out for a couple hours or something, take photos. And, I do that in a heartbeat and, make a donation. I would do that in a heartbeat and make a donation to a charity and on their behalf. But I got to find out how that works. So we'll see. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the notification button. The stuff you saw today will be on a future show. The time of this recording, it is May 15th, and I do plan on going back to the Friday night shows at 6 p.m. on Whatnot, and this is all Eastern Standard, and Sunday 2 p.m. shows. And typically Friday night is the vintage show and Sunday afternoon is the modern show. Although if I do only get a chance to do one show, I think the first weekend in June, I only have time for one. That show will be both shows. It'll be a little bit of vintage and modern. I think that's how I want to run it moving forward. So been pretty successful with it. and I look forward to it. So I typically do my one-out shout-out videos early in the week, my unboxings middle of the week, and stuff, weird stuff like this would be out at the end of the week. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, may the Force and the toys be with you. Hello, Star Wars unboxing fans. Hopefully you can hear me over the AC blaring. So we are furthering our little, I guess you could say, flea market slash marketplace adventure. I am now on my way, not for a flea market, but rather for a marketplace pickup. So I am heading over to Pennsylvania. I am going to pick up an item that I already own. It's in my personal collection. But I decided it was a pretty good price they were asking, and I negotiated it down to an even better price. Now the thing is, this item's a little big. It's not what I would say a what-notable item. So you might wonder, what the heck item is he going to get? Well, I'm going for the 1983, I believe, R2-D2 toy box. It is a semi-life-size R2-D2, but in a kind of more of a cartoon version, with a plastic lid dome, if you will, and it's got a little ring on the outside of it, and it's got wheels on the bottom, and you essentially put toys in it. That's a toy box. Let's get that R2 unit, toy box, not toy kit, toy box, and I will report back and let you know how it is. All right, mission accomplished. We have acquired the R2-D2 toy box. Not bad. The pictures did it justice. There was a couple of things that I did, there was one thing, I'll point out in video form. There was a screw missing on one side of the leg. Basically, it's like a cylinder with a dome, plastic dome that fits on top, and then two side decorative, like flat legs, essentially. Then there's like a ring that wraps around it, and there's wheels on the bottom. It appears at first glance, everything was kind of wrapped in a bag, but it seems at a first glance all the wheels are there, the legs are there. There is a chip off of one leg. I do not know if that chip was included, if they put it somewhere in the bag, or if it's inside the toy box. I hope it is. If it's not, it's fine. There is a screw missing on the bottom of the leg, so the leg kind of swings, But I think that that's a very fixable issue. I mean, I believe I could find a screw at like a Home Depot or a Lowe's and replace it. So I'm not too concerned about that. There's some stress wear on the plastic. Again, for a 43-year-old item, it's in pretty decent shape actually. The color's good. In fact, I want to take a look at this one and compare it to the one I have. I may actually end up switching them out. I may end up keeping this one, even though I think mine might actually be complete, meaning it has like non-swinging leg and everything, but it might actually, this one might actually be a better condition one, at least the base of it, so I might kind of switch them out, so we'll see. But that's going to go in my yard sale, and I let you know I paid $125 for it, Venmo. So I have decided that I'm going to ask $300 as a starting price, negotiate it down to $250. But if I can double, I think I can double my money. We'll see though. It's a popular item. There's been a greater interest in that line of Return of the Jedi furniture, mainly because it's the only time that that Star Wars was ever put on furniture, So those bigger pieces are highly sought after. Everything from lawn chairs to, and I'm not talking about the 90s and beyond. I'm talking about the 60s or 70s and 60s. Star Wars did not exist in the 60s, 70s and 80s. There wasn't really anything in the 70s. They didn't slap Star Wars on everything the way they did for Return of the Jedi. But even if they did slap it on everything, they didn't make that stuff in huge quantities like they did the Return of the Jedi figures. So we are heading back, but because the funny thing is, I'm laughing. I should have taken my wife with me today because we were like right near Westchester University, which is where she went to college. But what I want to do now is I always, when I'm far away from home and I'm on my way back, I always add stops. What stops do you ask? I always add Ollie's. Not Ollie's. I used to add Ollie's. Now I add Ross. Ross Dress for Less always has a small amount of Star Wars toys. They're basically overstocked items, both Black Series, Vintage, Retro, that they just end up getting they get some of those figures. And I want to go in, and every time I go in, they don't have a lot. There may be, excuse me, there may be a small handful, like 2 figures, 3 figures, that type of thing. But it's worth making the trip because every so often they come up, they have something pretty big. Like I remember in December I went into one and they had a full, like the Mandalorian AT-ST. Stupid me, they were asking $20 for it. I should have bought 3 of them because I sold one right away on Whatnot for $50. They had Acolyte 6-pack of retro figures for $20. I put them up, and some of those figures will sell for. I will definitely make more than $20. That's the honest truth. So I'm gonna wait and see, what they have there. But I will say that as of late, it's been less. There's been less items available. I think maybe Ross has eased up on it. Maybe that was more of a holiday thing, to have it for the holidays, and now we're about as far away from the holidays as possible. So maybe that's it. But it's worth checking because there's no Ross in my neck of the woods, so I have to always wait. I don't want to make a trip just to do that. So if I can double it up and just add it to my trip here, that's always a good thing to do. So we're gonna check them out, okay? And then we have 2 Rosses on the way home. Actually, there's probably 15 Rosses on the way home, but they're all way out of the way. So 2 of them are really close to the route. So we're gonna check out one, check out the other, and then we'll see. Maybe we'll grab a few items. I don't usually make a lot of money on Ross figures. I list them for what I pay for, and a lot of times sometimes there'll be a bidding war, and sometimes it'll just be, one item in. So we'll see. This is interesting. It's cute, but I'm not seeing any restocks of figures, at least not in the back. I think I was at this actual same one. Huh. Mike TV. That's cute. Avatar. Oh, Avengers. Gotta look closely. You never know. As you can see, it's kind of just hodgepodgey. Yeah, looks like we are, at least in the back, we're striking out. Oh, no. Bluey. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Certainly no scores. But let's check the front. See. Yep. Oh, look. Except for that. Hey, I'm pretty sure that they did not stock anything since my last visit, so it's only been about 3 weeks, so that's not totally surprising, but we'll see if there's any more luck in the other one on the way home. Okay, here's the other one. I don't know if I was at this one. It looks different, so we'll have to check and see. Okay, well, we do have
What are my orders?
Force Telling Vader. How much is this? It's not what I normally do.
The very worst thing you can do right now is bore me.
That is not your line. That is a line from Tales of Space. That's a line from Dedramiro. You stole Dedramiro's line. It's making noise.
I sense a trap.
No, it's the same one. Tales of Space, yeah. Let's see, I see the Mandalorian helmet there, but it's not really. This is a little bit interesting. size. Snoopy. Patriotic Snoopy. Yeah, I think it's been picked over. Probably by me. I don't know. I don't remember being in this. This store seems a little bit more kind of rural. Oh, wow. Retro play. I'm not a He-Man guy, but I remember this guy. Right, and yeah, not really seeing anything. All right, well, we'll check the front. See if we got anything else. And then on this side, Stitch. This is they do have some weird hodgepodge of organization here, but yeah, not seeing anything else. Okay, we'll check the front. Another one of those. Not seeing any other ones here. Okay, here we are again, next weekend, and it's a little chilly, but a beautiful day, so let's see what we can find.
No. It just, I know, it needs to be refinished, this part. But it's cool the way it's I know, it's That's all put in there. Yeah. Yeah, that was color.
All right, we did pretty well. Just a small helping of Star Wars goodness. We have, you saw this, we did pick up a Star Wars album. Don Ellis and Survival, music from the galaxies and other planets, featuring the main theme from Star Wars. Looks like there's also, it looks like it's a bunch of, yeah, I'm really curious about this. I want to listen to this because it came out in 1977, you know. I don't know what this is, if it's just a classical take on it. It's also got Princess Leia's theme, but the rest of it looks like original things. So, I don't know. I'm looking at, yeah, the group is, doesn't seem like it's a full orchestra, you know, so I don't know. We'll find out. I'll listen to it, and then it might find its way in the Whatnot world shows. I also picked up this one. It's the Famous Monsters magazine, but it's probably the first indication of Star Wars being, you know, a whole article written about it. Famous Monsters is a huge thing. Mail order store. You can get the masks. That's hysterical. Double record. Super 8 films. It's just a cool, like, snapshot in time, you know. So those are my two vintage items. And on the modern side, this was selling there. It's Micro Galaxy Squadron. This is the Reaper. He had a pretty decent price on it, so I didn't even negotiate. I just took it and say, maybe we'll see if there's any interest. I don't know if the Jazzwares thing has got much. And then, you know, I can't escape the fact that why are we putting plastic on Grogu? It's gonna suffocate. What's better than one Grogu? Well, two Grogus. So I don't know if I'm gonna run these as giveaways or if I just put them up for a couple of bucks. I didn't pay that much for them, so I think it's gonna be pretty good. All right, so definitely better than last week because of the rain, but at the same time, I feel like, you know, I've been told by those in the know that this is definitely more of a Sunday place. They think the flea markets, these types of you know, 3-day-a-week places, their busiest day is Sunday. So I don't know why that is. Honestly, his hair's doing all sorts of weird stuff today. It was very windy out. Woo. I don't know why that is, honestly, because, you know, it feels as though Sunday, you know, people have church and other things, but apparently it's a thing you do. You get up in the morning and you go to a flea market. So unfortunately I have a church gig on Sunday, so I can't go. But I do get off in the summer, so in a few weeks I will definitely make a try and make an attempt to check this one out on Sunday. Check out the Columbus one on Sunday, which is about 30 minutes from this one, so, and an hour from my house. So I'll have to coordinate. All right, but I think, guys, for the moment, I'm going to wrap up my, you know, my marketplace and flea market jaunting around. I have to figure out a way to edit this down, because if I let the raw footage run, it'll be like a 3-hour video. So I'll get this edited. It's very possible, guys, that the items that, if you're watching my Whatnot show, you will probably see these items before you see this video. So you know, just be aware of that. And if you aren't watching my Whatnot shows, guys, that is my number one request, is that you get on Whatnot and you check out my Whatnot show. Okay, I typically run Friday nights and Sunday afternoons. Friday at 6, Sunday at 2. However, you know, with the summer coming and a change in my schedule going around for a little bit, I'll be taking a break for a vacation, and I may also be running extra shows during the week to kind of make up for the vacation time. So, you know, check it out. You know, sign up. You don't have to make any purchases. I think you have to set up an account, but you don't have to make any purchases. You can just watch the chat. It's like watching a live stream. Speaking of live stream, I am actually thinking about doing a live stream unboxing. I noticed Star Wars Daddy did on his channel. I'm like, you know what? Even if nobody watches live, I mean, it might save me time if I can just put it out there as a live stream. I mean, because I got to tell you, when I get up and I do these unboxings, I don't do multiple takes. You know, I don't have a ton of bloopers, so I just kind of let them happen, and I only edit out bloopers if some weird thing happens around the room, or something falls over, or if my family comes in to interrupt me for something. You know, that's the only reason I ever do any editing. So I think, why don't I just do this live? And for anybody who wants to come out, maybe kind of make that a thing. The problem is that it's hard for me to do it live during the week because I'm so busy. But in the weekend, maybe I can do it. So we'll see. So you might see something come up. If you make sure you give me a like and subscribe, put the notification on, and you'll get a notification when I'm going live. And you can check out stuff right then and there. And if you want to comment or message me to ask me to hold something for you or whatever, I'll see what I can do. All right, and then the only other thing, I did put something out there. I wanted to just address one quick thing. I don't know when I'm going to get. I want to try to get this video edited today, but I put out on all of the Facebook Marketplace and other ads and all the groups about my yard sale. Every year, for those that are new, I do a Star Wars sale. It's 98% Star Wars and 2% other stuff. And because it used to be the other way around, it used to be 93%. I would do a yard sale every year, and then I'd throw a little bit of Star Wars out there. And wouldn't you know, like the Star Wars stuff, even if I had it higher priced, it would sell instantly. So I said, all right, clearly there's people like hunting for this stuff, either as collectors or as resellers. So I need to set this up. And one year, a few years ago, I mean, I was doing it at the top of my hill, but it was a lot of work. I had to carry boxes and boxes and boxes and set up tables all the way up at the top of my hill, and it was a lot of work, and I enjoyed it, and I made decent money. But then I thought one year it was going to be a 3-day sale, and it was going to pour all 3 days. At least that's what the weather said. So I was like, oh. And I had all these signs put up. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do the sale in my garage. So which has to kind of like down my hill and past. But actually my house is very good for that. I have ample parking at the bottom of this driveway, and then you can walk right around. I put up some signs. It ended up being like an amazing, I had almost like a little tiny itsy bitsy Comic-Con, Star Wars celebration, and it was awesome. And I've been doing it now for like 3 or 4 years. I think this is my 5th year doing, 4th or 5th, 4th year in the garage, I think is what it is. So if you are local, if you are a New Jersey, New York, like southern New York, eastern Pennsylvania, Connecticut area, and you want to take a trip, you know, you're within an hour and a half drive, it might be worth your trip if you really want to get some deals. But people have done it. And if you know somebody in the area, you can ask them to make the trip. It's the 25th, 6th, 7th, and 8th of June. Anyway, so I put stuff on Whatnot, on the Marketplace and on Facebook groups. But now everybody on Marketplace is like commenting, like, how much is that item still available? Because I put pictures from last year's sale. It's pictures from last year's sale. A lot of those things sold. Now, I try to avoid things that I know sold, but there are a few things that I have to go in. So another video that's going to come out probably this week is one where I actually go into the boxes and go through everything that's there. I'll do this twice. Once, probably later today, I'm going to go in. I'm going to look at what's there. I'm going to show everybody, like, within the, just kind of go through and show everything within the bins. And then in about 2 weeks, I will start setting up the table. I usually set up the table over a week ahead of time so that I can get everything out there and people can see it, and I get a lot of live feeds and going, and people see what it is. And that's important, because I do have some people that can't make the sale that come early, and that, or just kind of work stuff out with me out, offline or before the sale even happens. So, but right now, I have to update them. So I'll take some photos today and update the photos, because so many people are like, is this still available? Is this still available? And I'm like, first of all, I'm not selling anything ahead of time. I want to have stuff at the sale. The only thing I'd sell ahead of time is to people that have come to the sale once it's set up. That's okay. So, but I'm not doing shipping and anything of that nature. So, all right, gang. So I hope this was entertaining. I hope it was interesting. Flea markets are rough. There were literally 4 people with Star Wars items in this entire walk-around area. It wasn't huge, but it wasn't tiny either. The weather was nice. It was beautiful, but it was a little cool. So I think that did. We still haven't broken 60 degrees yet. So I think that was partially the thing. I've thought about doing the yard sale, garage sale thing, but I just feel like I am going to be... I don't know if it's worth going around 100 yard sales to find, 40 of them are nothing. 55 of them have modern Star Wars that's all kind of been played with and picked through. And only 4 or 5 of them are going to have any vintage Star Wars, and most of that will probably be either really, really not good condition, incomplete, or they're going to ask for crazy high prices, or both. So I don't mean to sound like a cynic, but it's just not something I want to. There are other things I would rather do with if I have a day, like a Saturday afternoon or morning and afternoon, all day free. I mean, honestly, I would rather, sit in my basement and make more of my custom card backs or magnets or pins and things like that to make available to all of you. I'd rather spend the time doing that. So, anyway, maybe I'll start getting people to go and do searches for me. I have to think about that. I have like all these students. I wonder if they would do that. I wonder if they would like go on the hunt for me. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the notification. And you know what? Get out there. Go and search on your own. If you're into collecting, you can find some really cool stuff. I will say this Lambertville, the Golden Nugget, really fun, nostalgic trip. A lot of vintage, Somebody made a good description. They went to the Columbus Market, and there's the covered section of it. They called it like in-person Temu. Like lots of cheap but new stuff. That people are selling. Tech and all sorts of stuff. Whereas on the outskirts and for pretty much all of the Golden Nugget, it is definitely more of a vintagey feel. Antiquing, vintage, retro. It's fun. So check out your local ones. I'm sure that they're going to be similar. So thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, may the Force and the toys be with you. This is the way.